For 7 straight nights, snow had blanketed the tiny village of Wintermeer. It was 1933, and the world outside felt a million miles away. But for 9-year-old Elske, this was the most magical winter she had ever known. Living with her grandmother, Mormor Ingrid, in a faded blue cottage, she was a quiet girl with curious eyes. Her parents, a fisherman and a seamstress, had been lost to a storm at sea years ago. Elske barely remembered their faces, but she clung to the memory of her mother's lullaby, a melody she sometimes thought she could hear when the wind howled down from the mountains. One morning, while scattering crumbs for the birds, a strange, gentle whistle curled through the pine trees. It felt like a whisper meant just for her. "Is someone there?" she asked softly. The sound came again, and as the wind touched her face, she heard it clearly, like words spoken on the breeze. "Little one, come." She froze, her heart pounding. There was no one in sight, yet she was sure the wind had spoken. Rushing back inside, she breathlessly told her grandmother, "Mormor, the wind talked to me." Her grandmother simply smiled. "Ah, child, the wind talks to everyone. We just grow too busy to listen." But that night, Elske couldn't sleep. The window by her bed was rimmed with frost, and beyond it, the moonlit forest gleamed. The whisper returned, clearer this time. "You can hear me, can't you?" "Yes," Elske murmured. "Who are you?" "I am the northern wind," the voice replied. It sounded like winter itself, cold yet kind. "Long ago, I was a friend to your people, but now they have forgotten how to listen. Why me?" Elske shivered, not from cold, but from awe. "Because you remember," the wind sighed. "Your heart still hears what the world has lost. If you wish to see me, come to the frozen lake at dawn." Before sunrise, Elske crept out into a world tinted blue. She followed the path to the Lake of Morn, its surface a vast expanse of silver ice. "Hello?" she whispered. A breeze stirred, and snow lifted in spirals, gathering into a tall, slender figure made of frost and wind. Its eyes shone pale blue. "You are brave to come, little one," the northern wind smiled. "You're beautiful," Elske breathed. The wind's laugh sounded like distant bells. "And you are kind. But tell me, do you ever feel lonely?" Elske looked down. "Sometimes, since Mama and Papa left." The wind's voice grew soft. "I have seen them. The sea took their ship, but not their song." "My mother's lullaby?" Elske whispered, her eyes filling with tears. "I carried it across the waves." The wind nodded. "Would you like to hear it again?" "Please," she pleaded. The wind lifted its hand and the air filled with the lilting tune her mother had once hummed. Elske closed her eyes, feeling safe and loved. When she opened them, the wind smiled. "Now you remember." "Will you come again?" she asked. "When the moon is thin and the frost is deep," the wind replied. "But you must promise me, Elske, never tell anyone. They have forgotten that wind can love." "I promise," she vowed. The wind touched her cheek, cool and tender, then dissolved into glittering snow. When Elske returned home, her grandmother sighed. "Oh, my dear. Dreams again?" Elske just smiled, but as she took off her mittens, she found a single, perfect snowflake pressed into her palm, one that did not melt. That night, she whispered to it, "Good night, northern wind." And from far beyond the hills, a soft voice answered, "Good night, little one. Thank you for joining me on this magical journey. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales that spark the imagination. We'll see you next time. Winter deepened in Wintermeer. The days grew short until the sun was little more than a pale ghost that rose and fell without warmth. But for a young girl named Elske Norrain, that winter no longer felt lonely. She had a secret, a beautiful, impossible secret. She had spoken to the wind. Each morning she would listen, and sometimes she'd hear faint murmurs, a sigh brushing against her ear. It was him. the northern wind, her friend among the snows. One night a full moon spilled silver light through her window. She couldn't sleep. A strange restlessness filled the air, and then she heard it, a faint humming, deep beneath the ground. It was the melody her mother used to sing. She whispered, "Northern wind?" No answer. Pulling on her boots and shawl, she crept outside into the glittering, moonlit snow. The faint sound led her toward the forest, the wind brushing her hair as if guiding her. She reached the frozen lake, its surface gleaming like glass. And beneath it, she could hear the song again, a sweet, sorrowful hum like a heartbeat. Kneeling, she pressed her ear to the ice. It was unmistakable. Then she heard the northern wind's voice. "Elska, you heard my song." "It's under the ice," she said. "It sounds like my mother." The snow around her stirred, forming a graceful figure. "It is her song, and yet more," the wind said softly. "It is the song of all who have loved and been lost to the sea. I carried their voices here, so the world would not forget them." Elska's eyes widened. "Then they're not gone?" "No song is ever gone, little one," he replied. "It simply changes its shape." The words filled her with a warmth that fought the cold. After the wind taught her to listen with her heart, he gave her a warning. "Beware, Elska. There are other voices that stir beneath the ice, voices that envy the living. Do not come here alone when the moon wanes. Promise me this." "I promise," she said. Days later, she couldn't resist the lake's pull. She knelt and listened. The hum was louder now, the song darker. Beneath the ice, a shadow glided, stopping directly below her. The ice began to crack. Elska gasped and backed away. Suddenly, a rush of air swept across the lake, freezing the cracks instantly. The shadow vanished. The northern wind's voice was stern. "You must not call when the ice is black, Elska. It is the hour of silence." "What was it?" She trembled. "An echo of sorrow," he said. "They do not mean harm, but they do not remember love." He made her promise again to stay away. That night, the fiercest blizzard in 20 years hit Wintermeer. But through the roar of the storm, Elska heard a song and a voice, softer, sweeter. "Elska, come." It sounded just like her mother. "Come to the lake, my darling." Ignoring her promise, she slipped out into the blinding snow, the voice guiding her through the storm. On the lake, a figure stood in the middle of the ice. It looked like her mother, arms outstretched. "Mama!" Elska cried, running forward. But as she neared, something felt wrong. The eyes were too dark, the smile too still. The air grew so cold it burned. "You're not her," she whispered. The figure's face twisted. The ice groaned and cracked. Then the true wind roared across the lake in fury. "Elska, run!" A storm of snow erupted, and the false figure screamed, dissolving into frost as the lake cracked open. Strong arms of air wrapped around Elska, lifting her from the breaking ice and carrying her to shore. The wind's voice was full of sorrow. "I told you not to come when the moon wanes." "I thought it was her," Elska sobbed. "The lost ones know your longing," he whispered. "They use it to call you, but they are shadows now, and shadows only mimic love." He curled protectively around her. "Sleep, little one. I will guard your dreams." As dawn broke, a faint melody rose from beneath the ice, not sorrowful but peaceful, as if singing its thanks. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of winter. If you enjoyed Elska's story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tales from the edge of the world. See you next time. When Elska awoke, the storm was gone. The morning sky was pale and quiet, and the forest shimmered with a soft new coat of snow. She was lying in her grandmother's bed, warm beneath layers of quilts. Mormor Ingrid sat beside her, her hands clasped tight around her rosary. "By the saints, child, you were half frozen. I found you by the door last night. What were you thinking?" Elska blinked slowly. Her voice was a whisper. The wind brought me home." Her grandmother frowned. "The wind cannot carry children, Elska." But Elska only smiled faintly and turned her gaze to the window. Outside, the trees swayed, and she could almost hear a familiar voice within the soft gust of wind. "Sleep, little one. You are safe." Days passed, and winter softened its grip. The people of Wintermere called it a mercy. The storm that had nearly buried the village had taken no lives. They said the mountain winds had shifted suddenly, as if a great hand had pushed the blizzard away. Only Elska knew whose hand it was. At night, she still dreamed of the frozen lake, of the shadow that had pretended to be her mother, and of the northern wind lifting her away. Yet even in the dream there was no fear, only the sound of a promise whispered through the snow. "When the thaw comes, we will meet again." The thaw began early that year. The lake, silent for months, began to groan and shimmer. Long cracks spread across its surface like veins of glass. Elska watched it every day from the edge of the trees, keeping her promise not to go closer until he called. Each evening the wind would visit, gentle and faint. It no longer carried snow, but the cool scent of faraway seas. Sometimes it brushed her hair, and she would whisper, "Is that you?" And sometimes a soft voice replied, "Always." One afternoon, though the air was warm, thin, glistening snow began to fall. More Ingrid looked up from her sewing. "Strange, isn't it? Snow at the edge of spring." Elska smiled. "It's him. He's saying goodbye." That night, Elska couldn't sleep. She rose, wrapped herself in her shawl, and stepped outside. The wind whispered around her, playful and soft. When she reached the lake, the ice was breaking apart. Mist rose from its surface like silver breath, and there, in the midst of it, stood the northern wind, his shape clearer than ever before. "You came," Elska said softly. "I could not leave without a farewell," the wind replied, a sadness in his calm voice. "The thaw has begun. My time here is ending." Elska stepped closer. "Will I ever see you again?" "Perhaps. When the frost returns and the night grows long, listen for my song in the eaves. I will whisper to you again." Elska nodded, blinking away tears. "I'll never forget you." The wind smiled faintly. "Then I will never truly leave." He extended a hand, and she stepped forward. His touch was cool but gentle. "I have a gift for you." He opened his palm, and a small icicle shaped like a pendant appeared, glowing faintly. "This holds a breath of mine. When you are frightened or lost, hold it close. I will hear you." "Promise me one more thing," he said. "Anything. When the world grows warm and people forget the songs of winter, tell them about the wind that loved you. Tell them that kindness can speak even through cold air." Elska smiled through her tears. "I promise." "Then this is goodbye for now." He leaned forward, and the breeze brushed her cheek like a kiss. Then his form began to fade, scattering into threads of silver light that spiraled into the sky. "Goodbye," Elska whispered. The snow stopped, the wind grew still, and the lake sang, soft, clear, and full of peace. Years later, when Elska had children of her own, she would tell them stories by the hearth of the north wind who sang to the pines and found friendship in the cold. And every time, she would open her palm and show them the tiny crystal pendant, still glowing. "The wind gave me this," she would say, "so that I'd never forget to listen." And as her children drifted to sleep, the window would rattle softly, and a faint voice would sigh through the cracks. "Good night, little one." Elska would smile, her heart full. Far away, in the high north, the northern wind carried his songs across the sea, ever faithful, waiting for the next heart brave enough to listen. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more magical tales. We'll see you in the next one.